Update 4 on Typhoon Kalmaegi, which is currently a typhoon category 1 with winds of 80 miles per hour and a pressure of 970 millibars. Its position right now is 19.4 degrees north, 112.9 degrees east as of 9 PM UTC, September 15th. The storm's expected to move towards southern China, indeed could make landfall on the island of Hainan or move between that small channel in between Hainan and the Chinese mainland as a typhoon before moving on to northern Vietnam, which is likely to strike as a strong tropical storm. Of course, over the Gulf of Tonkin there could possibly be a little bit of intensification, a window for that, which means that it could still make landfall as a typhoon in Vietnam, but nonetheless, southern China, even Hong Kong and Macau, and also Vietnam should be preparing for storm conditions, China in particular, typhoon conditions expected. Signal 8 southeast warnings in effect for Hong Kong and Macau, orange typhoon warnings in effect for southern China, and warnings for Vietnam are expected to come in the next few hours. Of course, the main threat, by the looks of things, will be for northern Hainan, around Haikou in particular, and southern China near the city of Zhanjiang and further south. But of course, the whole southern coast of China in that area from Macau eastwards to the Vietnam border should be watching out for storm conditions. Sea surface temperatures remain fairly warm, around 29 or 30 degrees Celsius, certainly conducive for potentially further development. Now let's see whether the wind shear agrees with that, or perhaps it's going to be moderate to high and could be on the increase as well, so that could possibly put some nails in the coffin of the storm as well as land interaction eventually. Looking at water vapour, that's not too much of an issue. The storm has a very broad area of influence, particularly towards its south and east, so any dry air will probably not get close. Looking at the computer models, perhaps a little bit out of date because the CMC still shows the storm over the Philippines, but never mind. Takes the storm towards southern China, pretty much what we've just witnessed in the original forecast track, possibly making landfall in China rather than Vietnam, and another typhoon hard to ignore behind that as well. A GFS model is more up to date, with the storm making landfall pretty much what we just said in southern China, possibly over Hainan Island, maybe a little bit of intensification along the way as well, could make landfall 85-90 miles per hour perhaps. But looking at the latest satellite imagery, you can sort of see a bit of a ragged eye around there, but nothing too well defined. I think the storm's still recovering from its encounter with the Philippines, but still headed towards China. The main central core of the storm isn't too far now from the northeastern tip of Hainan, which has already been affected by some storms this year, and indeed it has a broad area of influence, some of the spiral bands already reaching the coast of Vietnam as well, a very potent one indeed over the Gulf of Tonkin, which is just about to move over the northern part of Vietnam, but the most part of the storm lies to the south of the centre, and that is bad news for the whole island of Hainan as it moves over that area and beyond. Around the world, on September 15th at 9 PM UTC, Odile made landfall in Mexico in the last 24 hours. Edouard is intensifying in the Atlantic, could become a major hurricane, and Kalmaegi, of course, making landfall in the next 12 to 24 hours in China and in Vietnam. Invest 96W behind that too. 56 tropical storms have formed so far this year worldwide. 30 of those have become Category 1 hurricanes or their equivalents around the world, winds of 74 miles per hour sustained. And 17 have become Category 3 storms with winds of 115 miles per hour or greater. That's sustained winds. Just 2 of 2010, which is the second lowest in the 26-year record, but that is likely to be eclipsed sooner rather than later. You can visit Force 13 on any of its 6 outlets. The website, force13.com, will keep you most up to date, usually, though due to other commitments, the website has been a little slow to update recently. However, the video pages, YouTube and Dailymotion, will always ensure that you're kept in the loop, especially if there are warnings in effect. Just search Force 13 on there to find the latest stuff. And of course, the social pages, Facebook and Twitter. Force 13 on there, at Force 13 on Twitter if you'd like to send a message. Of course, following, subscribing, liking, whatever you want to do is also much appreciated. And you can speak to me personally on Skype, add Full13 on there for tropical weather chat. If necessary, the next update on this storm will follow in 24 hours time.